Hey there, this is Jennie Potter, and welcome to the second season of Self-Sabotage No More, inspired by my newest book, Stuck No More. This season is all about helping you break the loop of being where you don't want to be, of breaking free from the cycle of saying, I'll do it tomorrow, only tomorrow never comes. If you're tired of feeling stuck, constantly putting off your goals, and ready to take real action towards the life you want, this podcast is for you. We'll explore practical strategies to overcome whatever loop you are stuck in and finally start achieving what you've been longing for. For more tools and resources like how-to videos and worksheets related to my books and this podcast, visit jenniepotter.com. Before we get started, I want to make sure you know I'm not trying to diagnose or cure any kind of emotional, physical, or psychological illness. If you feel like you're a danger to yourself or others, please seek help from a qualified professional. All right, let's jump in and continue along the journey to Stuck No More. Aligning to the miraculous with love and gratitude. In other words, aligning to the miraculous with appreciation. So my next affirmation that we're going to talk about, we've talked about I am, I feel, I choose, and now we're going to talk about I appreciate. And the reason why I use I appreciate instead of I love or I'm grateful for is that appreciation is really a combination of the two. It's a combination of love and gratitude. I want you to use this affirmation as you feel the most comfortable with. So if it feels more powerful for you to say, I love and appreciate, say that. If it feels more powerful to you to say, I love and am grateful for, or I appreciate, you can't really do this affirmation wrong. What we want to create is that feeling of love and gratitude for our goal achieved. Okay. So if you can use the word appreciate and it's simple and it works, awesome. Any combination will work. The goal, of course, is to evoke feelings of love and gratitude for whatever it is we are miraculously creating. And so one of the stories I absolutely love is the story of Les Brown and how he got his first broadcasting position as a radio jockey. And I won't tell the whole story, and of course he tells it best. But what I love about this story is that Les chose what he wanted. If we're going to speak about choosing, like we talked about in our last episode, speak about choosing. He chose what he wanted and he took action and he went for it and he declared it and he was grateful for it and he loved it. And like every single moment leading up to him getting his desired outcome was all about love, gratitude, choice, action. Okay. And so he spoke it into existence. His story had all of the ingredients. So if you don't know the story, the short version is that Les Brown decided that he wanted to be a radio broadcaster. And so he went to the local broadcasting station and he knocked on the door and he asked for a job. And they were like, do you have any experience? And he said, no. And they said, we're not hiring right now. And so the next day he went. And by the way, he describes it like he didn't have shoes. He was in overalls. Like he knocks on the door and he asks for a job. And again, the manager's like, you were here yesterday. I told you we don't have any work. And he said, yeah, but I thought someone might have gotten fired or quit. And he goes, no, no one got fired. No one quit. So the next day he goes and he knocks on the door and he asks for a job. And the guy says, look, man, are you going to keep coming back every day? And he said, yes. And so he said, well, I'll give you a job sweeping floors and getting coffee for the DJs for no pay. And he literally started working for the broadcasting station for no pay. And he made himself useful and he watched everything that the DJs did. And when he got home at night, he would practice his pattern. He would practice as if he already was a broadcaster, what he would say, how he would say it over and over and over again every night. He showed up with love, with gratitude, with a good attitude, with energy. He took action. He made a decision and he went for it every single day until one day an opportunity arose for him to broadcast. And he called his mom and his girlfriend and he told them, turn on the radio because you're going to hear me. And he did his patter perfect because he had been practicing as if for months. And so I love this story because he didn't take no for an answer. And a lot of times when we want to create something, sometimes things get in our way, like our attitude about what we want. Maybe who are we to want this much or to dream that big? Sometimes we show up for ourselves in ways that don't serve us.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Just a quick note. I want to take a moment to let you know that I have additional free resources and links to my Facebook community available on my website at jenniepotter.com. Now let's get back to getting unstuck and creating the life you're dreaming of.
So we're going to talk about love and gratitude and how important it is when you're wanting to create, how important it is to pull in love and gratitude, to start speaking out gratitude and thanks for everything that you have, and be like less and choose and feel and practice and declare and go for it as if until one day you're in that place, in that perfect opportunity. One of my favorite quotes, and I might get it wrong, is something like, it's better to prepare for an opportunity and the opportunity never comes than to not be prepared when the opportunity comes. And I just love that so much. It's this beautiful, it's not the fake it till you make it. I've never loved that phrase, fake it till you make it, but in some ways, it's like stepping into your future early, okay? Just imagine that you're already there. How would you feel if you were that broadcaster, if you were that TV personality, whatever the dream is, okay? Whatever your dream is, how would you feel? How can you make yourself feel that way? How would you feel when you woke up in the morning if you were getting out of bed to go to your dream job, whether that was your home office or somewhere a commute away? How would you feel if you're living in your dream house looking at the lake? We want to evoke those feelings. Would you feel grateful? Would you love your life? Would you love that home? Would you love the experiences? Would you love your job? How would you feel? And so we want to talk about appreciation. We want to talk about your love language. And I love sharing the story. Now, in my first book, Self-Sabotage No More, I talked about how I kind of manifested these floors by loving the heck out of the floors and being grateful for them, to the point where when we finally were able to get new floors, I was kind of like, oh, do we need to? Like, these are, we just walk on them. And it was such a cool experiment because I literally danced and praised the floors until we got new floors, and it felt like magic. And so I have the same story with green countertops. When we moved into this house, the house was absolutely in mint condition, but like 40 years old mint condition. And so one of the things, other than the floors, that I had wanted to shift was the countertops. We had these forest green countertops that literally didn't have a mark on them. And what I really wanted was something more neutral. And so I had seen gray marble countertops, and really, like, I don't have like this crazy sense of style or even need for things to be like in style, but the countertops were really green and I wanted something more neutral. And so I knew that, my husband's take on things is kind of like function over fashion. Like, who cares what it looks like? If it works, right? Why would we spend money on new countertops if we have perfectly good countertops? And I totally get what he's saying. I still kind of wanted different countertops. And so I looked at painting them and I looked at all the different options and I dreamed for a day. But while I was dreaming for that, I started to speak love and gratitude into those countertops. Every time I used them, cleaned them, wiped them, I wiped them as if they were pristine marble. Every time I was in the kitchen, I was grateful for those countertops and the condition that they were in. And I tell you, we had an opportunity. A friend, a contractor, came over and gave us a quote, and it was less than we thought. And we had this opportunity to change our countertops, which we did. And I have never loved, I feel the same way about the floors. I've never loved anything like how I love these countertops and floors. I mean, like when I say anything, I mean like in the home. I got so good at being grateful for the countertops and being grateful for the floors that I just adore them. Literally, even this morning, I was walking down the hallway. Oh my gosh, I still love these floors so much because I feel like I loved them into existence. And so this is what this affirmation is all about. I appreciate whatever it is as if you already have it. And so I share that because if you're desiring to live in a new home, or you want a better marriage, or you wish you had more energy, or you're feeling, wish you were sleeping better, or wanted better sales, or a bigger income, or better energy, whatever it is that you're dreaming for, appreciate what you have. Have you ever like gotten super sick or had a migraine or something that kind of took you out for a few days? And then when you start to just feel better, like little bit less pain in your head, or you suddenly like aren't congested anymore, you have this new appreciation for just feeling normal. Okay. If you've ever felt that way, that's kind of what we want to do with our affirmations around I appreciate. We want to shift from that, like, just taking normal for granted. And we want to shift into, oh my gosh, I love my body. I love waking up. I love that I can walk to the kitchen. I love that I can, skip or run. I love the energy when I do have my energy. Like, wow, do I love my energy? It takes me a lot of energy to do like the podcasts and stuff, like just like showing up and being creative. And then it's not just recording the podcast, then I've got to like summarize it, do the hashtags, search engine optimize it. I have to like do a Canva for like the front cover, and ideally I do a lot of the podcasts like kind of in bulk, because if I batch them out, then I don't repeat the same stories. I remember what I was just talking about. It just flows better. And so I appreciate and love my creative energy when I get into the space and set aside a day or two to create some podcasts. When I get into that space, like sometimes I'm in a space where it doesn't even feel possible, but I want to create a limited series on my new book, Get Unstuck, Stuck No More. Okay. My new book is coming out soon. And by the time you're listening to this, my new book is already out. And I want it to have like the very best exposure possible. And to do that, a limited series based on the book is super powerful. And so I appreciate and love these podcasts as if they are already complete, as if the series is already done, and as if this is reaching millions of listeners already. And so this is a major theme I see with clients, is that they get stuck in the wanting instead of in the experience of having. Instead of noticing what they already have, they're noticing what they want. And as I've said before, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So are you acting as if you love and are grateful for your current life? Or are you hating your current life and wanting a change? Because if you're hating your current life, or despising your current life, or frustrated with your current life, you're going to attract more frustration. And so we want to shift to, how do we speak out with gratitude and love what we are excited about and what we want? Communicating with your subconscious, this is like so powerful. Okay, we've already talked about like ways to best talk to your subconscious, which is like when you're relaxed, when you're not in fight or flight. So one thing that I would highly recommend, if you're wanting to speak more love and gratitude into your life, your vibration, your mindset, is as you fall asleep, get into the habit of falling asleep to your affirmations. Move through them. I am, I feel, I choose, I appreciate, I declare, I envision, I resonate, I co-create. Do this as you're falling asleep with all of the different things and experiences and feelings you want to feel. Okay. You can use this, you can literally apply it to anything in your life. If you want to feel like you have more energy, fall asleep being grateful for how much energy you have in the morning when you wake up after a deep rest. Thank your subconscious for healing you while you sleep. Thank your subconscious for coming up with creative ideas while you sleep, that you awake with the speech, with the idea, with the energy, with the health, with the miracle. Okay. And so remember, when you're relaxed, you can better communicate to that subconscious. And usually it's the subconscious that's getting in the way. It's like this cellular knowledge. Okay. This every cell holds this idea, I'm not worthy, or someone like me can't, or we're broke. And you want to tell your subconscious, hey, little cells, we are worthy. We are abundant. We are wealthy. We are healthy. We are full of energy. We're the kind of person who wakes up and just absolutely has an amazing kick-ass creative day. Okay. So whatever you want to tell your body, tell it. Tell every cell, tell your subconscious, speak it into existence, because this is really, really powerful. When your old programming gets in the way, that's a sticking point. And so today, I want to give you the sticking point for the affirmation when your old programming gets in the way. Okay. So this is an affirmation sticking point when your old programming gets in the way. And so what I would suggest you do is do them while you're falling asleep, do them when you wake. For a bonus, do them in the mirror, do them when you're driving. Okay. But ideally, you're doing these as you fall asleep, because you're programming your subconscious as you fall asleep. Is super powerful. Do them as you wake so that you're programming your day to go well with gratitude and flow and ease. Okay. And when you do it in the mirror, freaking high five yourself, like cheer for yourself. You are with you all day long. So remember when we talked about how do you talk to yourself? Talk to yourself like you're your biggest fan, biggest cheerleader, okay? Because when you do that, you release love endorphins, you release gratitude endorphins, and those feelings, those chemicals emit from your body a vibration that is so high vibe and will attract to you more love, more things to be grateful for, okay? So just like I began to love those countertops and those floors before we ever changed them, you can do this in any area of your life. And I do this exercise with clients all the time, and they'll say, it's so bizarre, but they'll complain that their boss hates them and they work too many hours and that they're not connected to their colleagues. And then I'll say, okay, I just want you to affirm what you love about your job. Like, do you love the paycheck? Yes. Do you like the environment? Yes. Do you like that you have your own office? Yes. Okay, like we'll just find things that you do like. Maybe you don't like the size of the paycheck, but you like that you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Whatever it is, we find the things that you like, and then we just start really doing our affirmations around how much we love our job, okay? Because when you start loving your job, what always happens, and everyone always says it's crazy. It's not crazy. It's miraculous. It's you. You create your environment. So if you go in and you're feeling like, oh, I love my job, suddenly you hear it when the boss says, hey, great job, or notices you, or praises you, or a colleague's like, do you want to go for lunch? When you had it in your head, you were never included. Suddenly you start noticing where you are included. Suddenly you start appreciating that check and you get a raise. And it's not crazy, it's miraculous design. We have this incredible ability to create the life that we want, and we can do it. If you only used love and gratitude, you would see a shift, a complete transformation in your life, should you choose to apply this. And if you do it at the most powerful time, which is as you're falling asleep or right after meditation when you're relaxed, you will see an exponential, expedited healing process and transformation occur. And it will feel miraculous. So make sure you're high-fiving yourself for sure every time you look in the mirror, because that's going to release good feeling, love, gratitude, endorphins, which are always good to have in your body, changing every cell. Okay. And so that's sticking point, tip, trick, hack number one for today is when you have old programming getting in the way, or there's something you feel stuck around or that you don't like, you can use that cheering when you go to bed, reprogramming. Okay, we're going to reprogram our subconscious in the most powerful way. Another sticking point is when you love your goal, but you feel weird about loving it. So maybe you were always told that wanting money is evil or something like that. Okay. And so you can do a lot of good with money. And I'm sure if you've done any work on money mindset, you understand conceptually that money isn't evil. It's what we do with money that's good or bad, right? Or the worship of money that is good or bad, right? So what we want to do is get into a good mindset around money. So this is the example, or the sticking point is when we want to love a goal, but we kind of feel weird or guilty about it. And so what I would suggest is one of two things. One, you can release your blocks around loving or having a goal around that's financial, or having any goal that you feel weird about wanting. Maybe you feel guilty about wanting to be healthy because your partner is sick. Maybe you feel guilty about wanting to be in a good marriage, or that you're in a good marriage because your best friend is going through a divorce. Like maybe you feel weird about whatever your goal is. If you feel weird, you can give those weird feelings to the balloon and let it go. Okay. But there's another thing that happens when you feel triggered by your goal. And sometimes we were talking about it being throughout your whole cellular body. Sometimes these desires or goals trigger like something that's in the cells. It's like basically a physical addiction. So there's this coach and author, mentor of mine. His name is Tyler Watson. He wrote the book, The Alignment Effect. And that book, he talks about a cellular alignment technique. And it includes some panting and some tapping and a whole bunch of cool stuff. And I highly recommend the book. But basically, some of us get addicted or allergic. So addicted to feeling bad or allergic to feeling good. So example would be addicted to feeling broke, allergic to feeling abundant. So this is like the friend that you're like, oh, let me buy lunch. And they're like, no, no. And they like insist that they pay. Like they cannot accept the gift. Okay. Or they'll give you gifts, but they can't accept a gift from you. This might even be you. This might be you, how you're around, like you're good at giving, but you're not good at receiving. Okay, this might be you. And if this is you, I would have a look at that. Because if you're wanting to create a different life and you're feeling stuck in the energy that you're currently in, it's highly recommendable that you get good at receiving as well at giving. Okay, both of them equally powerful. When you give, it is a gift. And when you receive, it is a gift. And it's really important that you start looking at it in that way. But you might have an addiction to feeling bad about receiving. Okay. And so we want to shift that addiction. And so one thing you can do that Tyler teaches that's very simple is redefining your definition around receiving. For example, so let's redefine. So I'll give you an example. When I wrote Self-Sabotage No More, I was affirming that I was a best-selling author, okay, and that I sold thousands of copies with ease. But whenever I would say that affirmation, I would feel sick to my stomach, okay? And so I would say it and then I would feel sick. And then when I finally identified that feeling, that trigger, that my goal that I really wanted, my conscious mind wanted, and I consciously wanted to be a bestseller and sell thousands of copies. And whenever I said that goal out loud, I noticed that I was feeling sick. So I gave that feeling to the balloon and I spoke it out and noticed I still had the feeling. So then I was like, okay, let's define, what does it look like to me if all of a sudden the publisher called me and said, Jennie, I can't believe it, like thousands of sold today, what would happen? And I started to brainstorm. I wrote down all the negative stuff. And you know what came up? I was afraid about being away from my family. I was afraid that I would be seen as an imposter. I was afraid that I would be invited on shows that I would be like nervous to get that kind of exposure. All of a sudden, all of my underlying fears started to show up. And so I wrote all of that out. And then I was like, what's a possible good thing that would come of thousands of copies of books sold? And I started to write out, like all of the things that would be good. I would change people's lives. I could change my own life, my family's finances, like, it would be good for my coaching practice, like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Until I redefined what selling thousands of copies meant to me. So if you have a money goal, but when you write it down or say it out loud, you feel sick, take a moment and write down what's all the bad stuff that would happen. Like some people have like this fear, they think about winning the lottery and then they're like, oh, but then I'd have to pay my mom's debt and my sister's debt. And then my friend would be mad at me and then I wouldn't have enough money. And all of a sudden they go down this spiral. That's an addiction. And so one of the ways you can most quickly reduce or ease that addiction is to redefine your definition of your goal. Okay. So if you notice you have bad feelings, use the magnetic balloon method, use the redefinition, and start shifting away from being addicted to feeling sick or addicted to feeling broke or addicted to feeling alone, and shift into addicted to feeling healthy, wealthy, and abundant in friendships and connections. Okay. So speak out your fears and worries. Sometimes we're taught like not to do that, to only speak positive, but it's okay to identify your fears and worries so that you can redefine them and show up in a different way. And by the way, when I redefined that around self-sabotage no more, it worked. Thousands of copies sold. I have the perfect amount of invites for speaking engagements, perfect amount of exposure. I get to choose how much time I spend with my family, how many weekends I have off and days I have off, because I'm in control and I choose. I choose my schedule. I choose my hours. I choose my right amount of clients, all of those things. And I speak that out constantly. I frame my schedule. I frame what I say yes to and what I say no to. And when I redefined, all of a sudden, those book sales went up and my fear went to zero. So I want to encourage you, if there's a goal you've been reaching for, but there's a part of you that feels triggered by the goal, and triggered means you don't feel excited by it, you feel sick by it, or that kind of thing, okay? Once you become conscious of your blocks, you can release them. So with that, get conscious, get powerful. Don't forget, we've covered I am, I feel, I choose, and I appreciate. And so even if you're just doing those ones every night as you fall asleep, you're going to see an exponential, expedited shift in how you're showing up, in what's showing up in your life, and what you're attracting. Have a great day, and bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Stuck No More with Jennie Potter. If you enjoyed this episode, please comment, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast. That helps others find the show so they can get unstuck too. And don't forget, you can find my books, Self-Sabotage No More and Stuck No More, on Amazon, Audible, and the other book platforms. Thanks again for listening, and bye for now.